Welcome. Another edition of It's Still Real to Me. That's Zaslow Show 2.0 Wrestling Podcast. Glad to have you aboard here. Of course, everything Zaslow Show 2.0 is presented by Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. 800-747-FREE. 800-747-3733. Good to have you aboard. How you doing this morning, Joey? You all right? As we're going to recap the week in pro wrestling and also look forward to tomorrow night's AEW WrestleDream. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm good. I'm ready to spend another $50 this weekend. Let's do this.
That's what I was saying last night when the commercial came on the screen during Rampage. I'm like, Sully, just get another $50 out of me tomorrow night, huh?
Crazy.
That's what we're doing.
About like back before WWE Network when we had to do this every month.
Oh yeah. It's like you know, when I was in college, all right, and you would figure out what your cable bill is going to be. Okay, great. You know, I got Comcast, and I pay $40 a month for my cable. Okay, great. But no, I don't pay $40 a month. I pay an extra $30 a month because there's a WWF pay-per-view every single month. I pay $70 for my cable every single month. So I guess the answer is, when is AEW officially going to move to HBO Max?
Right. And are they officially going to go away from the pay-per-view model? Because I don't know. HBO Max doesn't have
it seems that in order to get that tier, once you have Max, and Max is like $9.99 or something, right. I think I get it for free with my cell phone bill.
AT&T, I think, does it, right?
Yeah. So I think I have it included. And then if you want to get the tier that includes AEW pay-per-views, it's $11.99 a month. Which is still, that's money. You know, it's better than
cheaper than WWE Network.
Yeah. So, well, you got to counter, $11.99 and what you're already paying for Max, which is probably going to be a total of like $20.
Oh, you're paying an additional $11.99.
Yes.
I thought it boosted up to $11.99.
No. If you have Max,
got it.
You could then pay an additional $11.99.
It's like an add-on. It's like an add-on, yes. not like a boost in the price.
No, it's an add-on.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's still
which is still worth it. It's still worth it because you're getting so much else with Max. Right. You get all the movies. So anyway, hey, today's a great day. We got a new official sponsor for It's Still Real to Me. All right. Matthew Maschler, Signature Real Estate, has jumped on board. Let's give it up. Let's give it up for Matthew Maschler, Signature Real Estate. Now, can I tell you something about Matthew real quick and why he is the perfect guy? And I'm excited to have him on the show. So you know how there are WWE super fans,
yes.
You notice them at the front row of all the big WWE shows.
Mm-hmm.
Now, while he's not at 100% of the big shows, I'd say he's sitting up front at least half of the big shows. Matthew Maschler and Neil Glazier. It's two guys. They dress nice. They wear like a coat, So
I think you've showed me that. Yeah, I think I've seen these guys. Yeah.
Matthew's got a big beard, So they're sitting up front at so many of these shows. Well, they're based out of here. They're based in Boca Raton. So they're the perfect guys to have on the show, Matthew. And they also run Boca Raton Championship Wrestling.
Okay.
All right. BRCW, they do these shows, which a lot of them are in conjunction with CCW and our pal Nelio. We got to get back to one of those shows real soon.
Absolutely.
And so having Matthew Maschler, Signature Real Estate on board, will be able to keep everybody in the loop what's going on with BRCW. They got another show coming up early November, which we'll get to. But Matthew's a perfect guy to have on the show. They're WWE super fans. They're going to be sitting up front for Fastlane next weekend, Everyone will be able to see them, and you're like, oh, yeah. That's Matthew, Signature Real Estate. He's one of the big sponsors on Zaslow Show 2.0's It's Still Real to Me. So really cool to have them on board. If you're looking for your dream home in any of the South Florida area, you look no further than Matthew Maschler, your trusted real estate broker. We're talking over a decade of experience. Matthew specializes in luxury homes, is a certified luxury home marketing specialist. Hey, he's been awarded the #1 realtor title and nominated for the Our World's Realtor of the Year. Matthew's a proud member of multiple realtor associations that includes the Palm Beach Board of Realtors, Miami Association of Realtors, Naples Area of Realtors. And here's the best part. If you're ready to take your real estate career to the next level, you can join the Signature team. The signature real estate companies are South Florida's industry leaders, ranked #1 in Boca, one of the top in all of Florida. Offices all throughout Florida, including Boca, Delray, Coral Springs, Parkland, Fort Lauderdale. The signature team is where you want to be. So you could be buying your dream home, or you're selling your property, or you're just looking to join the best in the business. Contact Matthew Maschler today, 561-208-3334. 561-208-3334, or go to realestatefinder.com. We're really glad to have Matthew Maschler and Signature Real Estate on board. It's still real to me. All right, so let's get to it here. Plus, I got to mention, so it is football season, all right? There's a lot of action going on, which means we could place all the good wagers out there. We could do all that good stuff. So I got to make sure everybody knows about Bet Online, all right? From the start of the college football season, got a lot of college football action today, NFL season. Bet Online, your #1 information source for all your sports wagering info with all the up-to-minute stats, scores, matchup breakdowns. You get the latest game odds, the spreads, the totals from the NFL and college football. It's right at your fingertips with Bet Online's real-time updates on stats, news, and odds. So, like I mentioned, from the start of the season, all through the college football playoff, all through the Super Bowl, Bet Online gives you access to the best football promotions and contests available anywhere online. Head to the Bet Online website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Remember, use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, and you're going to get 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. All right, Joey. So let's
I feel bad for the listeners because last week when you did the read, I use Bet Online. I've used Bet Online since I had a podcast. And man, the Dolphins over under last week was, I don't know what Vegas was doing last week, but it was set at 47. 47.
Yeah.
I was like, this is an insane number. I was to tell everyone just hammer that number. On Bet Online, it was 47.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, Dolphins are going to score 47 in the first half.
Yeah.
I think they almost did.
They almost did.
They almost did. But I was also just like, look, Dolphins defense hasn't been great. It's getting better. It hasn't been great. It's like Denver will score a few points, and then the Dolphins will take care of the rest. 47 was crazy. They have good numbers on that. Check it out.
There you go. There you go. Appreciate Bet Online being on board here as well. So, all right. So we're off and running here on a Saturday morning. Let's start out with the big news of the week. It was early in the week, WWE. We knew this was the case, but if you had any doubt how big WWE is going to treat Jade Cargill, there's no doubt has been left. When they do one of those deals where they leak the news to ESPN so ESPN can break the story on their Twitter account that Jade Cargill has signed a multi-year deal with WWE. That should relieve any kind of sign that if you don't know that they are going to strap a rocket to her back right from the get-go, she is going to be a very big deal. We talked about it last week. We talked about, what her name should be. Although I do wonder because they copyrighted a name Jada Parker, which I think is a perfectly fine name if that's what they want to name her. But
it's going to be Jade Cargill, right? They've been calling her Jade. They called her Jade Cargill on SmackDown.
Oh, did they reference her on SmackDown?
Yeah, they showed Michael Cole talked about her. They talked about how it was the biggest news on social media. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Because the direction I was going in was if they're having ESPN tweet out about it and WWE is putting out their own tweet also, and they call her Jade Cargill on that, I'd be like, oh, they're going to keep Jade Cargill as the name. But I didn't see that. So they did a package on her last night, which is awesome.
Yeah. They showed the clippings and they showed her walking in, then the posts of her walking into the Performance Center. And Michael Cole, he called her Jade Cargill. So
that's great.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that's got to be what the plan is. Yeah.
That's great. I got some messages on Twitter where it's like, she should come up in NXT first. She needs a little bit of work. And it's like, you're not having this whole hullabaloo over Jade Cargill. And then she's performing in front of 250 people on Wednesday nights. No. She'll spend however much time she needs in the Performance Center. She may be in the Performance Center for 2 months before she comes up, but she's coming right up to WWE.
Well, she could go to NXT, but there's a way to do it. I actually have a thought on it when we do our top five, our top five feuds that we want to see at the beginning. But I think there is a way you could put her in NXT. I just don't. I'm confused. I'll be honest. Like, we've talked about Jade Cargill forever. We talked about when she was on this whole run AEW. We didn't think they did a great job of making her truly look like the star that she probably can be.
Well, you saw she mentioned how the one thing she wished she had the opportunity to do was work with the women with the main title.
Right. Yeah. And that's
how I thought she should have gotten her first loss, was going after the main title.
Yeah, and regardless of going after the main title or not, it's just like she was on this undefeated run and this 60-0 and whatever. Remember when she won her 60th fight? They the announcers didn't even reference it. It was just like on the board in the background. Yeah. Like, they just did seemingly a pretty poor job of making her feel like the big deal that we thought she could be. This seems crazy to me. And I know she's popular. Like, I actually went and did a little deep dive on Instagram following for WWE wrestlers and AEW wrestlers and how she compares. She actually does she's has almost 1 million Instagram followers, which is, I think, actually, other than Saraya and other former WWE stars, by far the most of the AEW roster of the non-former WWE. And for WWE, it's pushing top 10. So she's got a following. This is a lot. We don't see this with free agents. And my concern still stands with this, is that they are putting her in a position where it's sink or swim right away. And if they don't give her the right creative immediately, and she doesn't deliver immediately, this could be a massive flop. And I don't think I'm not saying that it will be. It's a lot. They're putting a lot of stock into, and let's be honest, someone who hasn't wrestled very long. She's certainly, she has the look. She's athletic. She can talk a little bit from what we've seen, and she looks like she's going to be a big star. This is a lot that they're putting on her by doing the announcements, posting on social media. We'll see what her first feud is. I mean, obviously, like you said, it seems like she can't just go to NXT. They're putting a lot on her shoulders very quickly. And, I hope it works, and I think it can work, but they're going to have to come out with something big right away to make. And
I also think part of it is,
I still think a lot of those WWE fans, they still don't know who she is.
Well, that's why I think they got time. They keep doing the vignettes every now and then. But I think part of the whole huge introduction, the presence on social media, how big they're making her out to be, I think a lot of it has to do with, hey, big stars in AEW, this is how we treat you over here.
I was just about to say that. I'm glad you said that. I was about to,
That's
just
what
about
that
to
is.
Say that. Yeah,
that's what that is.
It's a tactic. It's to show these guys it's not just Cody because he's Cody. If you come here, we're gonna roll out the red carpet. Yeah,
yep, that's what that is, and it's smart. And you know what? I don't want to do the whole attendance thing, but there's no denying that I see some of these AEW shows on TV. And I know what it means when the lower level when the lights are out in the lower level so that I can't see the crowd. I know what that means. Mm-hmm. And then I see a WWE crowd like last night for SmackDown, just a regular SmackDown, and they're packed to the gills. Yeah. I mean, the upper deck all the way to the top is completely full. Mm-hmm. I feel like wrestlers in AEW, you see that and you start thinking to yourself, wow, what if? And it's all part of the package with what they're doing with Jade, where it's, we're not just doing this for Cody. If we're going to bring you over from AEW, it's because we think you're a big deal and we're going to treat you as such.
I agree. And if that is the whole, if there's a bigger tactic to this, we want to show you guys what you can do. If you come here, what you can become, that's great. That being said, again, it could backfire, because if you do all this for Jade and then she comes in and it's a flop, then what is that going to say to AEW? These other AEW talents, Well, yeah, it has to work, right? Yeah. It has to work. And it's tough, man. I went because we're going to talk about the top 5 that we want to see her go against. I was going through the WWE women's roster. It's thin right now. I mean,
it's thin now. Yep, it is.
It's not great. And she should help that. But also, as I'm making a list of who do I want to see her go against that would really elevate and make this great intro, there weren't a lot of people, right? It really was a handful. And even within the people that you would think would be a big deal, I don't want to see her against some of them right away. So it's like, we'll see. Triple H.
So let's do it. All right. Jade Cargill, top 5 WWE feuds. And we're not talking about top 5 that, these are the top 5 that we want to see her debut and feud with. It's the top 5 that we're just in general looking forward to her.
Well, I was thinking, right? So mine is debut and feud with. Okay. Because I think who we want to see her against I think who she debuts against is just as important as like what she ultimately goes on to.
All right, great. So we're going to do it both then. You're going to come from that perspective and I'm going to come from the other perspective, just top 5 that I'm looking forward to her working with. Okay. All right. So since you're also including who you would like her to debut and work with, you go first. So top 5 debut feuds for Jade Cargill, WWE.
Okay. First one, it would be quick. This would be like maybe 1 or 2 matches quick. Zelina Vega. You want to show how dominant Jade Cargill is and how much of an absolute monster she is. Put her in the ring with Zelina. Zelina would go up to her knee. Yeah. She would look like an absolute freak monster athlete. Put her in there. These people who don't know who she is, it doesn't matter because she's going to go in there and just kill Zelina Vega.
That's a good point.
So that's 5. Number 4 is Tiffany Stratton. And here's why. I think you have Tiffany Stratton win the title back from Becky. And on the night that she wins the title back from Becky, you have Jade Cargill come in on NXT and go right after the title and win the title. Because then she can be on both. Because obviously now they're doing the thing where the NXT titles are on both the main roster and NXT. So I think Tiffany Stratton would be an interesting one. Rhea, the two of them together would be cool. That's actually more of like someone I just want to see her feud with.
Yep.
Number 2 is Bayley and Damage Control as a whole, but Bayley specifically. They've kind of been going, back and forth on social media a little bit. So, and Bayley's Bayley's great. Amazing. Right? And again, there's part of it to me where the way they're building Jade Cargill up, it seems like they, if they want her to be, a face. I think they want her to be
anyone who debuts or returns is always babyface.
Right. So Bayley makes sense, right? Because Bayley's such a good heel and Bayley's so good at getting people over. She'd be great. Now, if you want to make Jade Cargill come in, if you want her to come in, and regardless of who likes her or who knows her or who doesn't know her, you want her to come in and be the biggest babyface, maybe on the roster, maybe in the history of wrestling. You have her come in and beat the shit out of Nia Jax.
Yeah.
Just have her come in and save the roster from Nia Jax. Yeah. Nia Jax is destroying the whole roster. No one can beat Nia Jax. Jade Cargill comes in, saves WWE from Nia Jax, who everyone despises.
Yeah.
That's number 1 for me.
Yeah. All right. So my top 5. And my top 5 is really not feuds to get started with right away, but in general, what I'm looking forward to. All right. But we do have a similarity, you and I, with one of them. So number 5 for me, I have Tiffany Stratton. And I have number 5 with Tiffany Stratton because, very similar build, the two of them. Jade's definitely a little bit taller, but both are super athletic freaks. And I envision this being not anytime soon. I envision it could be in a month or 2 from now, and Tiffany is already up with the main roster. So number 5, I have Tiffany Stratton. Number 4, Bianca Belair. That's an obvious one that everyone's going to think about. That's the girl she's always going to get compared to. And I had someone mention to me on social media, are they too similar, Jade and Bianca? And I'm like, you're allowed to have more than one awesome black female on the roster, And
to be fair, as I saw when you were posting about it, you had people commenting what does this mean for Bianca? And you said you can have, but again, we talked about this last week. This was part of my concern, was that for better or worse, this is just human nature. And people are immediately going to say, well, Jade and Bianca, they're both black. You can't have two jacked, black, hot women on. No, of course you can. But they're immediately going to be compared to each other, which was part of my concern with the Jade thing.
Yeah, so number 4, I have Bianca, just also a physical freak, Bianca Belair, who, while she will be smaller in stature, as far as strength and physicality goes, absolutely levels up.
And I will just say, I think that's got to be way down the line. I just don't think Jade can go in the ring with Bianca right now.
I agree.
I think Bianca's different level in terms of in ring. Although I guess so is Bayley. So what am I talking? I don't know.
Well, but again, I'm talking here. This doesn't need to be right off the bat. This is just what I'm looking forward to.
Right.
Number 3, Charlotte Flair. All right. if you're a big time female wrestler, you always want to see them match up with Charlotte Flair. I mean, she's the top of the top. So certainly not near the beginning, but at some point, yeah, I'm really looking forward to see Jade Cargill and Charlotte Flair. Number 2, Rhea Ripley. I mean, that's going to be amazing. Just the style of Rhea, which is completely different than from, say, someone like Charlotte Flair. I mean, it's more of a physical and brutal style that Rhea wrestles with. Rhea and Jade, the two of them lining up next to each other, that seems like an awesome visual. And number 1 for me, very similar to you, Nia Jax. Nia Jax, you're right. If you want everyone to love Jade Cargill, you want everyone to cheer for Jade Cargill, you put her in the ring with Nia Jax, who everyone hates her guts. And just two, you're talking about a movable force and an irresistible object.
Or whatever the other, I think it's irresistible force versus whatever. However,
irresistible force meets the immovable object. I mean, you want to talk about that. You look at Nia Jax looking up, by the way, at Jade Cargill, looking up at Jade. And now the only part that I worry about with that, because yes, that would be an awesome way to kickstart Jade's, debut, is to have her go in and beat the shit out of Nia Jax. Nia sometimes works a bit of a sloppy style. Girls have gotten hurt in the ring with her. Is Jade, is she seasoned enough to make sure she doesn't get hurt by a little bit of a sloppy style?
Well, I also think, so in terms of intro feuds, unless it's like a Bailey where you're not going to, because talking about, having her go against Bailey was one of mine. I think you can debut her against someone like a Bailey, and you could go a month without them even fighting. And you could go time because you could have promos and Bailey and them beating her up and that type of stuff. I think if you're going to do it with someone like Nia, to be honest, I think you just have her come in, and I don't even think it's a feud. I think she just destroys her.
And Nia just tries to stay away from her for the next few months. Like, I don't want to.
No. I don't even. Again, I think similarly to what I was saying about Zelina, where it's just like a 1 or 2 match thing. I think it's the same thing with Nia. I think you have her come in, and you have her save the roster, and then just move her on to something else. Like you can do it real quick. Like I think because I think the part of the other thing with Jade is, for the people who don't know who she is, the people who know who she is, they're going to cheer for her anyways. The people who don't know who she is, are you saying that I'm just supposed to cheer for her because she's jacked? Like, why am I cheering for her? I'm cheering for her because she comes in and she beats the shit out of people.
Yeah.
And I think she comes in and just destroys Nia.
I like it.
She becomes a huge baby face. And then that also answers the question of, how is Rhea going to go against Nia if Rhea is also a heel? Well, now maybe Rhea can just go against Jade and still be the heel.
Well, but also they've kept Rhea off TV now for a few weeks since then. And like I said, if you debut or you return after a while, you're babyface.
Like, she was babyface anyways. Everyone loves her anyways. So
yeah,
and
Rhea's plus returning babyface.
Yeah, that's true. And we're going to talk about the rest of WWE in a second. But yeah, I mean, I think based on what's going on with Judgment Day right now, it seems like she's going to be the babyface, and maybe that thing's going away. But yeah, I mean, I just think unless you're going to have her debut against, like, again, the people like you talked about, like Charlotte, Bianca, those types, I think whoever if you're going to have her debut against anyone mid-card or lower, and even though Nia's doing what Nia does, she's still like a mid-card type. So
you're saying you're not looking for Jade Cargill to debut against Natalya?
Well, if she does, I'm looking for her to kick the absolute shit out of her. Like, if she debuts if she comes in now, again, but right now you have Nia doing the same thing, right? So you're not going to do like Nia is re-debuting by just beating the shit out of everybody. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to have her come in as a heel and beat up Natalya, but I think similarly to what Nia is doing now, if she's going to debut against lower level competition, she's got to destroy them.
Yeah.
I think she's got to kill them.
So next weekend, though, we got Fastlane. We only have, 3 matches, I think, confirmed, right? We know we have Seth Rollins and Nakamura, which I have really been enjoying. I think Nakamura comes off as a super credible heel, all right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he could win. but I also think that somewhere in this feud, I thought when they fought last month at the pay-per-view that was when Damian Priest was cashing in. So I think I'm still going to stick to that. I think I could see Damian Priest cashing in during Rollins and Nakamura. So we got Rollins and Nakamura next weekend. We have Charlotte and Asuka and Io Sky for the women's title as Asuka comes in, makes the save at the end of the night last night. That three-way is going to be awesome. I expect Io to retain.
Yeah,
I
think so. It would be. I mean, I wouldn't. If Vince was in charge, I wouldn't put it past WWE to just put it back on Charlotte,
right?
Because that's just what they kind of do. But isn't her next win would be like 17 or 6, like it would be like a record?
It'd be somewhere there. It'll be somewhere close to there. Yeah.
So I feel like that's got to be like a Mania moment. Yeah. Like when she passes her dad, right? Like that's got to be. So yeah, Io makes sense. By the way, on the Nakamura thing, I don't think he's going to win, but worth noting, they just signed a rights deal to air Raw and SmackDown in Japan.
Well, I think that's worth noting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's worth noting.
So Japanese champion would make sense.
Yep. And the other one that was confirmed, which ended the show last night, which we all saw coming. Nonetheless, it was still really cool. LA Knight comes in, makes the save for John Cena. He signs the papers. I'm your partner. Cena is shook. Oh my God, LA Knight's my partner. And so the same way with Jade Cargill, if you had any doubt what their plans are for her, there's no doubt now what their plans are for LA Knight because he's getting that John Cena rub. And I mean, they clearly have big plans for him. The timing is great because we're only a few months away from Royal Rumble. So you got LA Knight fully engulfed with the bloodline. Does that mean that we're going to get something down the road with Roman Reigns? Maybe, but those are the 3 matches we have so far, right?
When you see that last night, A, the reaction from the crowd, and then B, the reaction from John Cena.
Yep.
You still don't think that LA Knight could be the one to beat Roman?
Maybe. I mean, like that's a pretty big rub he's getting from Cena.
I know. And they're going to win the match.
Yep.
And then Roman's going to come back. And then what?
Roman comes back and just stares at the top of the entranceway. And that's how the show
I don't know if he's going to come back. I don't know if he's coming back at Fastlane. I just mean he's coming back eventually. And he's going to have to handle the business that the Bloodline couldn't handle.
Mm-hmm.
LA Knight, again, I know that there's a thought maybe that he hasn't been at the top long enough or he hasn't been around long enough, but
whatever, people are enjoying it.
He's so big now. I mean, he's, I know this might seem crazy, but he's bigger than Cody right now. I think he's bigger than Cody. And that's probably just a product of Cody sort of.
It's okay. They're on 2 different shows, so it's all right.
Yeah. And Cody's kind of like floundering on Raw. Like there's not a lot going on there. We don't, he's kind of like, stuck in this Judgment Day thing and he doesn't have a ton going on. And LA Knight is obviously growing and growing. So I think it could be him.
Lastly, here with WWE, so we saw the first sign last night of Santos Escobar turning on Rey Mysterio. All right. Rey wins the match with a roll up. End of the match. Santos is hesitant. It's coming. It's a matter of when.
Yep.
And it's good. I mean, it's going to be good for Santos Escobar. He's better as a heel. I'm interested in what they do with the faction.
Yeah, but then they got but now they're tagging again because they got attacked by
so it's coming. Yeah, so it's and that too. By the way, I like what they're doing with the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley. So Bobby Lashley's already dumped them. But clearly what we're seeing is the Street Profits are just going to step up their game. They're going to step up the violence, and they're going to be like, what do you think of us now? And then Bobby Lashley's good with it, and they get back together. So I kind of dig what they're doing there.
I do, too. Angelo Dawkins wearing a suit, I'll never like it. He looks weird. He looks awkward to me. I love Angelo Dawkins.
Is it more awkward than Corporate Kane?
I've actually no, I kind of like Corporate Kane. I've said on this show before, I like Angelo Dawkins better than Montez Ford, but he's just not a suit guy to me. I thought the ending was a little strange. You're right. They're sort of teasing, they're dropping the breadcrumbs of a Santos turn at some point. I thought it would be last night. I thought he would lose and then turn on him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I like a good slow burn. I'm good with it.
I mean, they've been going for a while. But I guess if they're leading toward, so what is it like? They lose to Street Profits and that causes more dissension. I mean, because they're obviously using LWO now as a way to make the Street Profits look better and more badass or whatever. So it's fine. I hope it eventually leads to Carlito showing up because he's been signed now for like 6 months. So I mean, what's he doing? When's he showing up?
Chilling. So that's the big stuff from WWE. If we can now pay some attention to AEW Wednesday night Dynamite, I thought it was pretty great. Yeah. And there were two things that really stood out, of course. Number one, you had the end of the show, but the middle of the show, that promo between
all connected,
MJF and Jay White, that was some good shit, man, because, MJF goes through his whole deal and it was great. And Jay White is just taking it in the corner. And you kind of think to yourself, all right, I mean, good luck matching that. And then Jay White just handled it perfectly. I mean, just right in MJF's face. I really thought Jay White looked like a superstar during that promo. I thought he was amazing.
This is something like the internet community, the internet wrestling community has been sort of begging, has been asking almost from day one.
You don't have to get it all at day one,
I know, but they've been sort of asking, like, when are we going to get when are we going to get Jay White?
Isn't it better now like this, the way that they did it?
It's good. I think circumstances have led to, like, I think obviously I don't know that this would have happened if Adam Cole didn't break his ankle, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, and by the way, people think that that's fake. It's not. I watched it live, and you clearly see when he jumps off and he is hurt.
Right. No, but look, I got goosebumps watching Jay White's promo. Awesome. That's how good I think his promo was. It was, I mean, when he like turned and got to the side and almost like was whispering the promo in MJF's ear and like going through all of his, I'm the catalyst of professional wrestling or whatever. He's saying all that stuff.
He's a real
I sold out
guy.
Madison Square Garden. Me and the Bang Bang Gang are hanging out in Denver and you can be their scumbag. Like, he's doing all that. I was like, holy shit. You look around wrestling right now. I think you take that promo right there took him to an elite level in all of professional wrestling that there's only a couple people on. The Romans, the MJFs, the Codys, those guys. That promo to me takes Jay White right there. It was so damn. I mean, we talk about a lot of times MJF has had a tendency to he's so good that his programs that he has tend to rise and fall based on the talent of the person that he's working with, right? So like the Adam Cole stuff's been great because Adam Cole's great. The Bryan Danielson stuff was great because he's great. The Four Pillars stuff wasn't that great because those guys aren't that great. This is going to be unbelievable. This is going to be unbelievable. Jay White he's that damn good. And that's why when he went from being New Japan champ to signing with AEW, people were like, all right, he's going to be right in the main event right away because he's that good. So I like it
better the
awesome.
way that they did it. I don't like everything being given right away. And I think part of the reason why this is so awesome is because, we've been waiting for it.
Yeah.
So I dig it. It was really good. What do we make of the end of the show?
I think so. The obvious thing is they're going to try to make you think it's MJF because that's MJF's mask.
Right.
It's not MJF. It can't be. There's no way. It would be a weird because MJF.
I don't think it is either. So who else is it then?
Well, there's a couple things. The internet what the internet does. They posted. If you go back and watch their promo, Cole and MJF backstage in the locker room promo, I think it was after All Out, after they retained the tag titles.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Cole has MJF's mask,
the
devil mask, in his locker.
Right.
So there's people thinking it's Adam Cole. The person was very skinny. So there's people that think it was Ricky Starks because he has a past with Jay White.
But where does the mask come into play?
Well, to make you think that it's MJF.
Right, but like, why does Ricky Starks want anyone to think it's MJF?
Well, he also has a past with MJF. He said that it wasn't him. He tweeted, "It wasn't me, but I know who it was. Sign up for my Patreon."
I mean, I think Adam Cole sounds like
here's another one because here's another one that I think is interesting. Britt Baker. because it was a very small person. It didn't look like like Adam Cole's skinny, so it could have been Britt Baker. Because the other thing is 4 people attacked him, right? So the assumption is it's, Roderick Strong and the other 2 guys. Yeah. But who's the 4th person? Because there were 4 people attacking, and then the Devil came in.
Oh, okay.
So could the implication be that it's like a 4th Britt Baker? I don't know. And then Richard, I don't know if you know who Richard Holiday is, but he was in MJF's group in MLW Dynasty, and he quote tweeted the clip with a devil. So he is sort of teasing that he's part of it.
Everybody wants to get on board.
Why wouldn't you? Ricky Starks would be great because they've blown it with Ricky Starks again, which we'll talk about with WrestleDream, but they've blown it with him again, it seems like. So he would be great to be part of this somehow.